the noise campaign. Somebody just pounded on my door. I went. All right, this is actually my second take of this video. This is another morning video, and another testimonial. Like I said, at night or when you're sleeping in the morning, it's disturbing. The conditioning and this disturbing pedophilia type of tormenting is the worst. And while I was making my first version of this video before my phone died, I was talking about this disturbing psyop, not even disturbing, this illogical psyop they've been trying to present themselves as. It's I don't want to use, in the last video I used the word retarded, but I shouldn't be using that. I would say it's just illogical to even think that somebody will subscribe to it. The facade and the psyop they were trying to present themselves, or they still try to present themselves, is like we are this group of femme fatale, radical, progressive, and we are at war. It's our money. We're using our own money. This is our own. And they use these childlike people to say these things, which makes it more obvious that it's falsified, right? And there's a lot of childlike people involved in this program because I've understood that the sophistication of this technology is extremely is like unbelievable. And so you can hear a child who never spoke who starts speaking French, who doesn't even know how to speak French, but is able to speak French or another language or Chinese or whatever. And you're like, okay, you definitely don't speak Chinese. You don't speak Swahili. You know, like they will say like, and I'm like, wow, you speak like, so. You understand that this technology is like extremely sophisticated, that even childlike people can be involved. And so when you include these childlike people in this program, the agitations, the scripts sound like so childlike. Oh, you are, it's you are, and they sound like children. Well, reality is this childlike individual is very much aware that they force people to think in this disgusting thing and this trash, and that's why this childlike individual, as much as they try to speak a certain ways with this tone of childlike, when I see them, it takes a lot for me to just calmly look at them and not want to react, because you see this trash for all night, all day. You're forcing me to imagine children in this sexual way so you can train my brain to look at kids in a sexual way. And regardless of how they sound, these bottom feeders work for pedophiles. And they've been doing terrible things to men, women, and children. And on top of that, they've been training your brain to look at kids in sexual ways. And that's not only you, they're doing that too. So imagine seeing this, try to play this a childlike individual. You see them in person. It becomes like you kind of forget for a second they're just children. And you look at them, it's like you just like tools for these pedophiles. And it just gets to you a certain way. Now, of course, I just recognize there's just the nobodies in this, but it goes into your brain. You look at them, it's like you're just a bunch of nasty pedos. And to counter that, they're going to do stimulations and something like that to torment me. Last night, it was another disgusting night. It's getting hot here, and so I wear my boxers in bed. And so what they start doing is to, like, the sexual stimulations are even worse. Even now, right before I was watching this video, there was a picture of a kid, and they're still stimulating me right now because of that. Right, so you understand these low lives are just trash, and they try to make me agitated and angry, but I'm not really naturally that angry. It's just they're forcing me to have some extra anger, because it is disgusting. You hear a childlike individual who's telling me I'm gonna get raped, and I'm like, I'd rather get raped. You work for pedophiles. You make men and women feel stimulation toward children. Death comes to all of us, but that's nasty. This is the kind of thing that push people to kill themselves. Literally, the people involved in this should be killing themselves. Last night, I was in my boxers and sleeping in my boxers. And they started making me imagine this coworker, this trash of a coworker of mine that wants to create that psyop. And they started making me imagine her and me like just having like flirt-like interactions. Now, would I, me personally, imagine me flirting with this person? Yes, she's not a bad-looking person. But the reason why they were doing that first is like try to kind of embarrass me, because I know she's a perp that watches what's going on in my brain, that involves herself in that. So I'm like, I don't care about that, but I know it's forced. It's forced because you will think that's gonna embarrass me. Then they start bringing up, that's so nasty. When I interviewed this person, I would call her trash, to be honest. I was interviewing, and she was one of the person I talked to. She brings up this little toddler, I think it's her niece or something. This little adorable little girl, just adorable, like chunky little kid, and they started, and I remember that it was just so disgusting. The reason why she brought that little girl is because they know that once the little girls, little kids, especially little girls, are there, they're gonna do these nasty stimulations toward them. So she brought this child there so they can do these nasty pedophilia things they do to people, and they did that to me. So last night they were making me feel arousals and make me think of this little girl. As I'm saying that, they even tried to do something to my pelvic area. And so making me think of this baby and making me think of this so disgusting, and stimulate me and training my brain. It was non-stop. They're conditioning my brain to think about this baby, and I said chunky baby, they tried to bring me back to this disgusting thing they were calling chunky before. It was so nasty, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. This like chubby little girl, and create sexual stimulations and train my brain to look at this kid in this disturbing, to feel stimulation toward that kid. And it was non-stop. I'll wake up, going to sleep, they'll do this again, they'll play with my genitals and stimulate me. Even now I'm still feeling stimulation. They play with my libido in this most disgusting ways. And it's false as it gets. But to them, the way they try to cope with what they do, right? They call it being at war. Now, it's obvious that this is not a war. The weapon they use is military-grade weaponry, and this is just a human experimentation where these trash are contracted to implement these tactical ways of experimenting on people, and their goal is to break them down using this military-grade weaponry. This is part of a research and development program. They're developing this technology, right? And there are protocols of how they're supposed to break people down. Pedophilia is one of the protocols. And they're supposed to break me down and rebuild me in different fashion. This is part of a systematic human experimentation. That doesn't mean it's war. You might be using a military-grade weaponry, but it's human experimentation. But this trash, because they do this pedophilia type of torture, because they condition the brains like that, which is part of this protocol in this human experimentation, the way they try to cope with being part of the human experimentation, where pedophilia is a tactic to break somebody down for the purpose of developing this technology, they call it's war. Because the reality is, they're just doing human experimentation using military-grade weaponry on civilian, and pedophilia, and these disturbing things they do aimed toward children is one of the protocol tactics. Now, what does it mean? What does it make them? It makes them low-life pedophiles. And at the same time, they try to agitate you. Now, forget the fact that there's a bunch of pedophiles in these agencies actually in charge of this program. These people are just the contracted shit around here. Sorry for the language. They're just the people who are on the field for this human experimentation. They're the trash. They bring, a lot of them are very young, and you know, just they're just the trash that implement these things, that project reality onto you. They like to call you nothing, right? What does that make them? Nasty. That's why I look at them for the trash. I just remember when there was this woman, I was the laundromat, and they were something about black little girl, something they wanted for me to subscribe. I see her just like walking, like walking while slapping her foot down and try to make some noise campaign. I looked through her like she was not, like she was really just a piece of shit, and she just kind of like looked away, like she walked away. Because they really think that you should be identifying with the things that they do to you. Now, my brain is for them to manipulate. This technology there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing. I'm going to experience whatever they want me to experience. There is nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do to block that out. They're going to do this. They're going to experiment. They're going to use my brain, and they're going to make me experience all the nasty pedophilia things they want me to experience, however they want it. If the stimulations, the thoughts, all of that is for them. There's nothing I cannot stop this. I don't know if it's microwaves or whatever that can influence your brain in every fashion. I can't do that. But I will never identify with these nasty things, and I see them for this trash, trying to force people to think in this way. Now, another thing they try to say, right? These people who torture children and women, right? Who've done horrible things, foulest things, right? Who are trying to make themselves this type of avenging, radical, progressive women, when in reality they're just the bottom feeders of these entities that experiment on children, right? I see them as that. Their mind, they want me to like see them differently. Everything about what they really are. I made it clear when I was on the TI 2020 that it was TI Day 2020 video. I know this torture, this human experimentation is impacting men, women, and children, not only in this country, not only in the States, not only in this city, but all around the world. And I know these bottom feeders are involved in that. So when I see these people, I see them for truly what they're part of. Not this little fantasy they've put together to psyop people. And they're like, you know what we do? We're doing this, right? These pedophilia things, because we're going to frame you, and people are going to see what's happening in your brain, and going to be like, oh, he's a pedophile. Let's rape him and torture him. It's like, yo, no. These pedophilia things you do to me is a way to break me down. Whatever they can do to me, they can torture me. This is the government. They can make people do anything. I could be like having none of these disturbing things they manipulate me to experience. None of it. I could be just my own thoughts, regular thoughts, none of these disturbing pedophilia things, none of the conditioning. And whatever they say is going to happen to me in regard to people torturing me and doing things, can still happen. They want me to be like, oh, they're going to see you. They're going to be like, it's also another tactic to try to make you identify to these things. Oh, they just saw, oh, off, turn it off. Pfft. Do you know how easy it is to find out that they do this pedophilia type of torture? I think it took me a day after I found out about target individual to find out that pedophilia was a torture. Matter of fact, I think the first petition I've seen, because when I discovered target individual symptom, remote pedophilia, day one of like looking for target individuals. It took no time to find that out. No time. I'm looking at my nails and try to do some nasty things. It took no time. It was like, but these people obviously, they block out the obvious reality, right? They think if they block out the obvious reality, you're not gonna be. It's like gaslighting in that different ways, right? It's a tactic of like, if I tell him no, there's no way. It's like, and you see it's there, I see it. It's like, no, I don't see it. It's like, no, it's right here. It's like, nope. They think that you're gonna be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't see it too. Typical. These trash are bottom feeders. And so when they use these children to try to make you subscribe to this thing, I see them for these bottom feeders that they are. But one other thing they do, this nasty shit. Because they make me think of this trash that this next door, not the next door. Sorry, they kind of messing with my brain right now. You can see how it goes when they start like playing with your brain. It makes it hard for you to speak. I'm glad I captured that. But when these co-workers of yours, right, are trying to live this fantasy, as I remember seeing this trash. Initially, she was super confident and like she was proud and thought that I was gonna let her live the fantasy. Hold on. I hope you heard the noise campaign. Somebody just pounded on my door. I went there. They understand that I don't really have fear of them. But the reason why they make this noise campaign is because I was talking about my coworker, and they want you to be agitated. There's no need to be agitated. You gotta see them for what they are. But my coworker, who this trash that wanted me to live their fantasy, this trash that wanted me to live their fantasy, and using her own niece during this interview to do these pedophilia things to me. Now when I see her, I truly see her for what she is, right? She wanted to be this woke-like thing, and it's just obvious. You guys are not woke. You guys are not progressive. You guys experiment on human beings. And yesterday, when I talked to her, and I'm glad I made a video, she was like, she said something about gaslighting, and I'm talking about it now because they know the type of torture I'm going to experience, and everything is orchestrated. And it's what they do. So you heard that noise campaign. They start to try to make. I have no problem confronting these people. That's the thing with me. And they know. Imagine you try to confront somebody who knows that you do this pedophilia type of torture. It's really a recipe for something bad to really happen. And in the state of mind I'm in, I'm not I see them for pedophiles. I've called them pedophiles in their faces. So you understand what things can go down. So I need to calm down and understand that they're just tools for these pedophiles. Now, just to finish up what I need to say, it was disgusting last night. It was so nasty. They were using this little baby, this chubby little baby, to train my brain to look at these kids in these sexual ways, to train my brain to be stimulated toward this baby. Non-stop. These people have these tactics of pedophilia is so disturbing. So disturbing. And on top of that, that not only to do this pedophilia type of torture, they torture children sexually. The things they've done to children, that alone, when I think about it, oh my gosh, that makes me go somewhere else. That when I know that these people are in a program that suffocate children and torture them and do this sexual torture, at that point you kind of you kind of like your brain just takes you somewhere else. When you put that in perspective, it's not only that they force a man or a woman to feel disturbing stimulation toward children. The stimulations are disgusting. They're disturbing. They're breaking. They can push you to suicide. But it doesn't make you as aggressive When you find out that they do these horrible things to kids, now that changes. You see them, and you're like, you nasty fucking trash. Not only do this pedophilia type of torture, but you know that you guys are torturing children too. And then you're trying to use your own children to create these disturbing stimulations for this human experimentation. You understand why people become mass shooters and stuff like that? Because I don't care how this psyop is. At that point, these people are involved in a program that tortures children. And you see them for that. So it's tough to maintain your cool and relax when you have to go through these things. And people who wants you to first of all accept these pedophilia things, and then be involved in a program that torture children. And let me repeat last night and this morning, and then I can wrap up this video, this testimonial. Last night, they started to make me have these dreams about, not even dream, thoughts, imaginations about this next door neighbor. Right? This next door neighbor. Oh, sorry, it's not about the next door neighbor. They're confusing my brain right now. My coworker. My coworker. I'm just, because I can hear them in the hallway try to distract me. And if they do this again or they pound my door, I need to calm down because things can be bad. My coworker, they start making me imagine. They start making me imagine something like flirty with her, like flirting with this coworker of mine. Now that is nothing new. That's nothing crazy. I can imagine myself flirting with women. But they then started shifting things toward the little girl that was with her when she was interviewing me. And then start creating sexual stimulation toward that little girl. And start creating sexual stimulations and training my brain to look at this kid to have these sexual stimulations. Throughout the night, I will wake up, get arousal, think about it. They make me think about this baby. And then they'll stop. Again, I'll wake up, they make me think of this baby, and then stimulate me again. Training my brain to think about kids in these sexual ways. Now you understand these people use pedophilia. And then they're trying to be like, oh, dog, where are you going to go to jail? They're going to rape you. They're going to do this. I'm like, I'd rather get raped than do what you do. You guys are pedophiles. People, there's this like conspiracies, the thing say like these people are like satanical pedophiles. This is literally what the people say. Satanical pedos. Now, I don't know if I believe that. I don't think they're definitely, there's definitely pedophilia issues. I don't know about satanical. But there is definitely pedophilia issues. And they try to make it cool and like badass and fierce. That's how nasty these people are. That's why I hate that psyop. You see that like radical, like progressive kind of, imagine that like a revolutionary, radical, like, you see nowadays how people are super like progressive and radical and just like willing to do this for this cause. Now imagine that, but not imagine including pedophilia in that. We're doing this. We're this radical. We're using this pedophilia type of torture because we're radical. This is a radical tactic of breaking people down. We don't care. It's radical. It's war. And that is the most disgusting stuff to even hear. Because, well, first of all, this is a tactic they've been doing it for years. Testimonials all around. So it's nothing radical. If they want to talk about radical, this is systematic. This is protocol. Almost all target individuals have been experiencing this for decades. It's like an old school tactic to break people down. It's literally a symptom that almost all target individuals have been experiencing. A tactic to break them down. So that alone, it shows how fraudulent they are. Then they know these tactics are implemented onto like even women. So you understand how trashy these people are? And then this is led by the government of the United States or these entities. Department of Defense. So you see this trash is like, yeah, for the people, yeah, get the trash, fraudulent shit. So it's a psyop that is just so annoying on its own. It's obvious the government is running this. The Department of Defense. It says, the Department of Defense is like a revolutionary group now. Delusional trash. These contracted bottom feeders that are just opportunists can use any psyop to try to make you forget reality. They're just bottom feeders sold. They sold to these entities. Filled with pedophiles, by the way. Department of Defense, CIA, DARPA, pedophilia, pedophiles running through this thing. The BuzzFeed article just exposed a little bit of it. And this trash wanted to be like this femme fatale feminist or something. We are a bunch of like this annoying and I think it's part now of the agitation. Because you obviously know that these people are not what they present themselves. They're everything but what they try to show themselves as. They are just working in a program that experiments on human beings. And this program is led by the government. They're like trying to tell me, this is our money. We're using our weapons. Fucking trash. They've been torturing and killing kids and women. Filled with pedophiles in these agencies. They've been doing this pedophilia type of torture. I'd rather die like this. I'm glad I didn't have to live my life covering up, signing up, doing these things to people and try to force grown men and women to stimulate our children and try to find this fierce. It's like, we're so fearful. Look how fierce. And we are. Yeah. We're gonna make you think in these pedophilia ways. These fucking pedos. They torture children sexually. 3-week-old babies. And try to be like, and the worst is when I see like grown men try to be like super like bad and like just like manly about it. Yo, men. Yo, what kind of men will do these things if try to force people to look at kids in these pedophilia ways? The entities that contracted you are filled with pedophiles. The trash, this fraudulent feminists, these people trash are here coming up with their own fantasy when they are here torturing and frying a bunch of women. You're a man. You work for programs where they've changed your brain, rewire your brain into looking at kids in these pedophilia ways, and that's your job. You're a trash, low-life bottom feeders that sold your soul to pedophiles. You're a man. You work in a program that tortures children? Pooh, you fucking shit. Look at your co-workers. There's like kids. What kind of man are you? You're no man. You might physically be a man, but shit, that's it. And then try to sound like this. I warned. I'm like, okay. I warned you too. There's a price to be doing these pedophilia things. Let this childlike trash that wants to be like feminist work in a program that is ran by the government that torture a bunch of women. Let them be this retarded. You as a man, I can never respect you. Tell my target individual, I make these videos because I want to show the obvious pattern here. The pattern that this program has been utilizing pedophilia for a long time. The psyops are going to be the psyops. Whatever's going to happen to me, whatever I'm going to be tortured, it's just the theater. The entities that are torturing me are governmental. The technology, the sophistication is obviously governmental. The resources is obviously governmental. These people tell me how I'm going to be tortured, it's like, shut up, you can torture me in this apartment the same way. These lowlifes are trying to differentiate themselves from the obviousness. They're not different. Do not subscribe to the PSYOP. These people work for a government entity that is filled with pedophilia and pedophiles. These people signing up are people who torture children. Even if they use new school tactics with this remote technology, they kill kids and women and try to present themselves as like, no, it's our money. Like, no, it's called a PSYOPs. It's supposed to create a false flagging tactic. We're supposed to be like, oh, no, we're gonna kill you. They torture children. They torture children. Imagine me seeing them knowing that. Seeing this slow life in front of me, try to come up with a little fantasy. Try to come, oh no, remember what you did as a kid. Do you remember that I know that you torture and suffocate kids? Do you understand that I know that you guys do this peripheral type of torture? You've been training my brain and conditioning my brain to think about kids in these disgusting ways? But guess what? I know it's not only me. You've been doing that to a lot of people. Do you know that this neighbors and this story, it sounds like everybody, other target individuals have been talking about? I don't know if my neighbors have been doing that. You're just the same shit that's capable to torment a woman, a single woman, who can do nothing, and then push her to kill herself. So I'm a target individual. I have to deal with a lot of PSYOPs, but imagine having to deal, first of all, with this pedophilia things they forced me to experience. All night, they were making me think of a kid and stimulate me. There's a grown man and woman right now working on that. And then try to, oh no, they're gonna torture you. And wait, do you want me to forget that you just made me think of children and stimulate me all through the night? Is that why you're saying that? Because I'd rather get tortured than do what you do. That is their job. And they try to sound menacing about it. Nothing. It's like, Trashy, you are a pedophile. They know when I see them, that's why they don't like to be seen. I see them clearly. When I see them when I look at them in the eyes, when I see them when I see these fuckers in the eyes, I see them for what they're involved in. They know that. These neighbors next door, they haven't ventured out. They haven't ventured out because they know like he's gonna immediately see me as a fucking lowlife that works for pedophiles and that do the pedophile type of torture. This next door neighbor, this guy, big guy, I think I filmed him. His eyes are tearing. Like I'm looking at him. He's like, "Yo, fucking pedo, yo pedo." I remember next door neighbor, this big guy. He's just like, oh, he's like, oh, we're evil. Oh. Because they're saying that it's so evil to find out there's so many pedophiles in this intelligence community. And it's like, oh, we're evil. And then I hear somebody say, oh, we should feed these pedophiles to the hogs. If you know people who are evil, feed them to the hogs. And this guy was, oh, and then he stopped saying these things. These people are pedos. They use their children as okay, you go. So you look at this, look at my little girl. So they can do this pedophilia type of torture. And they use these childlike people to repeat things. Oh, are evil. These are things to annoy you. Yes, you're pedophilia type of torture. Yes, you work for them. Weak, low-life, childlike individuals. I remember in the hallway they used to try to be shown. I would listen to a woman telling me, talking about how she's being tortured sexually day in and day out. They were running their apartment because they don't want to be associated. Oh, yes, you're associated with that. But the most important things as a target individual is just to not identify with this nastiness. Do not. Their job is to force you to accept these things. It's disgusting and it's tough because day in and day out they are forcing me to get stimulated toward children. Their job is to make you accept this. They don't like to see me in person because what happened is I see them And I'm looking at this low life. You guys are pedos. They see like it's like they don't understand. Not only I see them for the pedos that they are, but I see them for torturing children and women. They know. I can be start torturing, cutting pieces. You still work for pedophiles, and I saw you as that. Or you use your children over there. Ah, that means that you guys are not doing that. To all my target individuals, stay strong and know that justice will be done.